we talk about the strange, the unusual, and the downright stupid things that you didn't think that you needed to know about. We are coming from you live inside of a cave right now because none of our equipment is working properly.
What should we call this cave?
I don't know. It's like a ramshackle hut at this point.
Yeah, it is. We should call it Fort Brayla.
Fort Brayla?
Yeah.
I feel like...
Because that would be our other couple name.
That would be our other couple name. I feel like we're stronger than this fucking cave.
We absolutely are.
Like,
you, me, our friendship, all of it.
At any second, this is gonna cave in on us.
Yes.
One wrong move and this comes down. I know it. So, I'm only looking at my paper from the sunlight in your window over here.
Yeah, me too.
That's streaming in from the small bit of space behind you. So, man, this episode better be fucking great for you guys because we worked our asses off on it and damn, it's been stressful. So, what are you drinking?
I am drinking wine with some strawberry rose extract to make it extra fancy.
I'm just drinking tequila with seltzer and also strawberry rose extract to make it delicious.
It is really good.
It is really fucking good. Thank you.
What's the brand?
Jordan?
Give them a shout out.
Jordan Skinny Syrups.
Thanks, Jordans.
Yeah, you got
Getting
some
us
good
drunk in style.
Got some fucking syrups there that are delightful. All of them, except for the margarita one. You gotta work on that one.
Yeah.
That tastes like urine. And limes. So, alrighty. You are first this week. We are going over myths and legends of the medieval era. So start us off with what you got.
Alright, so first up, I'm bringing out some of the big guns for the medieval myths and legends section. We are going to be talking about fairies.
Hell yes.
Yeah. So, traditionally spelled F-A-I-R-I-E-S. It can also be spelled F-A-E-R-I-E-S.
F-A-E. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Sorry, I had to.
Thanks.
Had to do that thing in my head where I was like, "Is that
right?" So they are generally believed to have origins in the European Middle Ages. However, similar mythological creatures, I guess, can be seen in like most ancient cultures.
Okay.
The Greeks had like nymphs. The Arabics had like jinni, which are
like genies.
Yeah, they're more like traditional genies, but I guess genies are pretty similar to fairies.
Maybe in like wish granting, which I assume that fairies can kind of do. Well, okay, so like if I'm thinking about the fairies in like Once Upon a Time, like she can grant wishes, the blue fairy. Yeah. So that would be more like a genie.
Well, I also don't think that like traditional genie are like wish granting genies. Mm-hmm. They're more like trapped magical beings.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do an episode on that in the future because it's something that interests me.
Okay.
And a lot of indigenous, like, Native American cultures have their own, like, magical beings, like fairies.
Cool.
So you and I are both pretty big into fairy tales. We know that they kind of all, or not all of them, but Disney has kind of Disney-fied them, where they all end on, like, kind of a pleasant note. But, most fairy tales of yore were meant to have, like, terrible endings in order to, like, teach people why they should stay away from fae folk, basically.
That's fair.
Yeah. So fairies are generally described as being, like, super pretty or, like, super handsome, just depending on if it's boy or girl. I feel like you could call any of them beautiful, though.
Oh, 100%.
They're just beautiful. They're neither handsome nor pretty.
No, I don't
beautiful.
think any of them are ugly.
No. Well, like, I think some subspecies are.
Okay, but like your general...
Your fae aren't.
Your fae. Yeah, the FAEs, not.
They are, you know, believed to kind of live alongside of us, but they have like a super long lifespan, generally speaking.
Okay.
So they're kind of just like living here, but living forever.
Okay.
It's believed that most of them do not have a soul, so when they die, they just kind of like do into the wind.
Okay.
Dust to dust, so to speak. But like, what do fairies actually do?
Wait, Question.
Yes.
If they don't die, then how is there a when they die?
Like, they
Like if they're killed?
no, they aren't immortal.
Okay.
They just have a really long lifespan.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes
and
more sense.
they could probably be killed.
Well, I'm sure.
I'm not an expert, but I'm sure they can be killed.
No, they definitely can. I'm
Yeah.
also going by my knowledge of A Court of Thorns and Roses,
Which
so,
is
like,
most of the knowledge of Fae.
that's all I have other than Tinkerbell
yeah.
and Once Upon a Time.
Right. Although they're not really that prevalent in Once Upon a Time.
No.
Digression.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that later, but yeah.
But, like, what do fairies actually do that makes them different from humans?
Mm-hmm.
As we went over in, I don't remember which episode, but we talked about the changelings.
Yes.
Like, briefly.
In Doppelgangers.
Yes, yeah, and doppelgangers. So they might replace your baby with a changeling, which they believed was kind of just, like, a really old fairy that was probably, like, getting ready to go out.
And wanted to be a baby again.
Yeah, like, they would just kind of, like, take your baby and replace it with a changeling.
She was like, I just want to cry and have my diaper changed. I am 400 years old.
I have done this for long enough. Put me in a cradle.
Take care of me.
So some signs that, like, your baby might have been swapped with a changeling include, like, a really solid appetite. If your baby is just always hungry, it might be a changeling.
So a baby.
Yeah, just a baby. If they're like kind of always grumpy or crying.
So a baby.
Yeah. Or if they look sickly in appearance. So, like, maybe
so
they're
a
like
sick baby.
yeah, like maybe they're like real underweight, you can't put weight on them. Maybe they've got like yellow skin, you know, like
so John.
yeah, like if it just looks sick, it could also be a changeling.
Or it could just be very sick. It might need hospitalization.
Yeah, you should see a doctor if your baby looks like that. It's not a changeling. It's 2020. But, like, to get rid of a changeling, and I didn't know this, you can just make them laugh.
That's so dumb.
So, like, if you think your baby is a changeling, what did they say specifically in the research? Like, something about, like, dropping a toast in a fire or something like
Toast?
Yeah, like, just put your toast in the fire.
Man, that's hilarious.
Then, yeah, if your baby thinks it's funny, then it's a changeling. And fairies can't lie, so once you have discovered that it's a changeling, they have to swap it out with your baby again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Laws regarding that are weird.
Yeah, they're also a little bit, like, wishy-washy.
No one has a direct answer. They're
No.
just like, well, you could drop some toast.
That's the funniest thing they could think of.
What's funny to me, like, the idea of that is funny to me.
Oh,
Like, if
yeah.
you told me that, like, I would laugh at that.
Yeah, like,
The
my baby's a changeling.
concept.
Have you tried dropping toast?
Drop your toast, I swear. It'll make it laugh.
Because babies think that's funny.
Because babies understand that.
Right.
Not that there's anything to understand about dropping toast in a fucking fire.
No, I don't even
But
understand that.
I don't
one.
either, but
You could also just kind of, like, let it grow out of the changeling phase.
that's what I would do.
Yeah, if it's the voracious appetite or the, like, grumpiness, I think that's a solid one. But if your baby looks sick, maybe don't just let it grow out of that. Try to make it
No,
laugh.
it won't grow at that
Nah.
point. It'll
Yeah.
kind of eventually just wither away and die.
Yeah.
You're doing the
Aw,
opposite of
that's
what you should
sad.
do.
I don't want to talk about dead babies.
Yeah, well, no one wants to have a conversation about dead babies, so.
But here we are.
Well, yeah.
So one thing too that adults had to be cautious of was Fae would just kind of like carry you off to fairyland.
I'm cool with that, though.
Yeah, they
Do
would
it.
just kind of like drag you away and maybe force you into a marriage.
Whatever I have to do to provoke that to happen to me.
Where are the fairies? Could I
I'm
seek
sorry.
them out?
Is there an instruction manual that I can follow?
How do I get taken to fairyland?
I won't protest. Just take me.
Once people were there, you aren't permitted to return once you've ate or drank any fairy food.
Which they talk about in A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes, yeah.
Or
a little
it's
bit.
like, I think it's like presented as a myth.
Yeah, like they weren't really sure.
Yeah, and then like...
I mean, all of this is a myth.
Yes. You're not wrong. But I think in that book where they're talking about it as if it were real, because it's, you know, YA fiction, I think that they mention that, like, that's just a myth that's made up by humans.
Yeah.
That,
But, like, I mean, real fairies wouldn't tell you that because they can't lie. So if
but
it's
if you
true,
asked,
you would know.
But if you asked them, they couldn't lie to you. So
Right.
if you had
So if
said,
you-
like, can I eat this, or am I going to
Yeah.
be stuck here? They can't
Right.
lie. They have to tell you.
Right. Exactly.
But I also think that was presented as being a myth, too, where they're like, we can fucking lie all we want to.
In A Court of Thorns and Roses,
Yeah.
it definitely
Yeah.
was, yeah. But, I mean, real fae, I don't know. Can they lie? I don't know.
Real fae? Are they real?
Real fae, quote unquote.
Real fae? Question mark?
I think there's also, like, that age-old myth, too, that I don't remember if it's, like, if you eat or drink, or maybe it's just, like, if you listen to fae music while you're in Fairyland, you'll, like, dance all night until your feet get ground down to the bone.
I feel like I've heard that, but I don't know where I heard that from.
That, again, also mentioned in Aquatar at one or two
Is
points.
it?
But it is, like, a true fairy, like, myth or legend, yeah.
Huh.
It is, fairy lore.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Because I know that
I
I've
also
heard
think,
it, but...
is that what happens to, in that one fairy tale, the one about the dancing sisters?
I was going to say the 12 Dancing Princesses.
Yeah.
I think so. So I think in that, I actually have, like, a book, that's, like, based off of that, which I think it's called A House of Salt and Sorrows, which I haven't read yet, but it's on my bookshelf to read.
Okay.
I think that's, like, a retelling of that myth. But from what I understand of it, there's, like, a fairy man that comes to, like, visit them every night and, like, takes them to this world where they do dance all night long.
Yeah.
But I don't know the rest of it. I just know that that's... I have Grimm's Fairy Tales, and I wonder if it's in there. I wonder if that's a Grimm's Fairy Tale.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, because I think you have Grimm's Fairy Tales, too, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably literally right behind
It probably
us.
is, yeah. It is, I could see it. I'm pretty sure that that's either a Grimm's Tale or, like, Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, those are
It's
the
one
only
of
two
the...
fairy
It's definitely,
stories,
like,
yeah.
one of those, like, classic fairy tales. I just don't know it offhand.
So fairies and humans could get married once people were in Fairyland,
Okay.
but, like, if the human violated any of the, like, vows of that marriage, then, the marriage often ended in the human's death.
What happened if the fairy violated it? They could just do whatever the fuck they
fairies
want.
can do whatever they want, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that seems a bit unfair, but okay.
I mean,
A bit
yeah,
unfair.
for sure.
I'm so sorry, but I'm also not. Expect nothing less of me.
Female fairies were well known for, like, telling fortunes or
Okay.
making prophecies, particularly at funerals or births.
At funerals?
Yeah, like...
Come get your fortune told. Will you be
I
next
think
to
it was
die?
more like, do you see the wizened old fairy behind the tree over there lurking? She's waiting to tell you of your oncoming death.
Or the birth that you're gonna give.
Or, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. They thought that, like, there were a bunch of herbs that would help to ward off a fae,
Okay.
such as St. John's wort or yarrow.
Okay.
I don't know, like, what they did with that. Did they, like, grind it up and like, dust themselves in it? Did they turn it into tea? Did they just, like, wear it around their neck?
I feel like it's probably, like, a little
Any
bit of...
combination
Yeah,
of those.
any of those. Like, I feel like they were put in, like, a little, like, satchel and, like,
Yeah.
carried on their person.
Maybe. There you go.
I feel
Keep
like
it
a lot
in
of
your
things...
pocket.
Yeah, like, a lot of things are like
Mhm.
that.
I'm also curious about, like, I didn't find any, like, first-hand tales of this, but I would also really like to see how many people got abducted and brought to Fairyland that they thought it was necessary to ward them off.
Yeah.
Like, why did you think that... Like, how
All-
often were people getting dragged off to Fairy World?
That all of a sudden that they needed to come up with a solution
Yeah,
as to
yeah.
prevent it.
Did anybody keep a diary of that? Because I want to read it.
Also, what if it actually was aliens instead? And
I
they
mean-
thought it was, like,
It's a possibility.
fairies. Although aliens are very ugly, and I would not think...
Well, from what you know.
I don't want to find out.
Me either.
So, I'm assuming that they're gross. But what do I know?
So there are, like, a bunch of different types of fairies.
Okay.
Which is what we're going to go into next.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is brownies, which are kind of like your little Tinkerbells. Sometimes they're more like Dobby.
Okay.
But these are, like, helpful household fairies that would, like, help you in your house, basically.
So, like the ones in Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would think those are brownies.
Yeah.
Because they kind of help out.
Probably.
They do, like, house
Yeah.
work.
In my head, they're less human-looking than that, and
Okay.
in my head, they look more like Dobby.
So, how about those, like, Cornish pixies or whatever in Harry Potter? Like, do you think they look more like that?
Maybe, but I'll go over a variety that is probably more similar to Cornish pixies.
Okay.
But these guys were, again, super helpful in the house, but they had, like, very strict guidelines on what you should do with them.
Did they present you with, like, a rule manual when they came in?
No, you just had to guess.
So eventually people were just recording what they thought might be, like...
Yeah, like,
okay
it was thought that they only come out at night, obviously, and it was thought that you needed to leave them a bowl of, like, cream or milk and, like, a specific food. But if you didn't do that, or they didn't like what you left them that night, then they transformed into boggarts, which are our next style of fairy.
Cool.
These are just, like, little monster-y versions of brownies.
But not, like, the Harry Potter boggart that'll just take on the form of whatever you're...
No, these are
shit
just,
scared
like,
of.
spooky little house elves, basically.
Okay.
And, you anger your brownie, so it turns into a boggart, and basically... people would use boggarts to explain any weird little mishaps in their house.
So, like, poltergeist.
Yeah, kind of. Like, if they heard, like, loud noises at night, oh, it's the boggart. If something gets broken or goes missing, the boggart did it.
So casual. Just the boggart.
Yeah. And I love the idea of being able to blame anything that goes wrong in my house on the boggart. That's why I have a cat.
That's true. A cat is just a boggart made whole.
Yeah, that doesn't just come out at night. It just gets loud at night.
Yeah. It's real active at night.
Yeah. Just like a boggart.
Like a poltergeist.
So people thought that you could get rid of boggarts by naming them.
Okay.
Just name it Harry and then it has to go away.
Oh, man. Could you imagine the boggart's like, don't fucking name me, don't fucking name me, don't... Fuck, he named me!
That kind of reminds me of, like, Rumpelstiltskin. Like, he can only hurt you until you know his name.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
You're right.
And Rumpelstiltskin also only came out at night.
I don't think it's ever explicitly said that. Like, that he
I just assume it because he...
looks like a trash goblin?
No, because he only, does the weaving. Like, she would wake up in the morning and all of the hay was woven into gold.
I think it was probably just like he couldn't sleep and that's what he did.
Just insomnia.
Yeah, it was just like a real bad case of insomnia, so he was like, might as well spin some fucking straw to gold.
Sure. He was, like, both simultaneously a brownie by helping and doing a helpful task, and a boggart by being unnamed.
So maybe he was, like, a brownie during the day and a boggart at night.
Like Shrek. Or Fiona.
No. But maybe.
Or you could get rid of them by baptizing them. Once they find Jesus, they have to go away.
How the fuck do you catch one? You just get, like, a big old net?
Yeah, probably. Just
they see you, like,
up.
creeping around, and they're like, oh, shit. Here it comes.
Oh, man, she's caught me.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as I know, no one ever caught one. So, they never got to baptize one. Can you do, like, distance baptizing? Just, like, sprinkle the house in holy water and...
You just go around and you just, like, throw it everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Like sage, but...
I almost just took down our whole fort because I hit the blanket on top of it.
Oh, no.
I saw it, like, move, and I was like, shit, here it goes.
Tumble!
Yep.
So the next type of fairy is a banshee.
Okay.
Which we know a little bit about because I feel like they're a fairly commonly talked about mythological creature.
I don't think we know too much about it, though. Like, I feel like we all have different ideas of what banshees are.
Yeah, I think the most common, like, type of banshee is we just see them, like, screaming in fields because somebody's gonna die. But they actually started off as a good spirit. They were seen to be, like, mourners of somebody who just passed.
Okay.
It explicitly says that they were virgins. I'm not really sure why that matters when we're speaking of banshees, but neither here nor there.
I don't know who's testing that.
I don't know.
It's not a real banshee.
She's not a virgin.
Mm.
And then the legend of a banshee kind of evolved into being like a warning of impending death.
Okay.
And then that kind of evolved to the banshees that we know now of being a harbinger of death.
And that's the one that I've heard of, is that they, like, literally stand out in fields and just scream to signal that somebody's gonna die.
Yeah. But one of the most common, like, old legends is that you'll see them riverside washing the clothes of somebody who's about to die.
That's so weird. Like, how do you identify, like, who that person is?
I mean, like, I guess she probably only appears to people who know that person's, who, like, knows the person who would be dying. You know? So, like, you're walking by a river and you see a banshee washing my clothes.
But I'm not
going to recognize my clothes.
I guess so, yeah. But, I mean, there might be some things I've never seen of yours, so I don't know.
She's gonna pick things you've seen.
What if she picks a new outfit that you just bought that I don't know what it is?
Bury me in it.
And she's just washing that shit, and I'm like, oh, hey, girl, what are you doing?
And she turns and just...
Yeah, and just
screams
at me, and I'm like, oh, well, somebody I know is gonna die. I don't know whose clothes those are, though, because I've never seen them in my life.
And then all of a sudden you see me wearing that outfit, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Damn it. I knew it.
The next one are kelpies, which have recently come into, like, fashion, I guess, because they're pretty similar to the, water spirit from Frozen.
Okay,
of course.
So knock.
Yeah, the Finnish term for these fairies is naki, so that one is based more off, like, Finnish legend than Celtic legend.
Mm-hmm.
But kelpies are basically, like, water spirits. They usually take the form of horses or attractive men, and lure you into the lake or river and drown you.
It's like the male version of, like, a siren.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I like that they have a version, too.
I do,
that
too.
That feels really equal.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how I would die.
Yeah.
This burly-ass Jason Momoa-looking man would be out there singing to me, and I'd be like, all right, here I come.
Yeah, sure.
Am I gonna die? Maybe, but is it gonna be worth it? Probably.
Perhaps. So that one is, like, a more malevolent one. The rest of them could be a little bit friendlier.
Okay.
I mean, I guess boggarts probably aren't that friendly, and banshees aren't now, but they were once upon a time. But the next two are, like, we're slowly getting more evil.
Okay.
So your next one are will-o'-the-wisps.
Okay.
Which these are, like, your little Cornish pixies.
Okay.
So they are kind of, like, impish pixies. They're thought to be the souls of unbaptized children.
Okay.
So you don't baptize your kid, and it could turn into a will-o'-the-wisp.
Is there a difference between a fairy and a pixie?
I don't think so. I think it's just, like, a sublet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess it depends on how specific you're trying to get.
I don't know.
Tinkerbell is a pixie, because she's small and little.
True. She can also be a feisty little bitch, too, though.
Yeah, but
actually, I think in the original book, she is a feisty bitch who tries to murder Wendy multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But so are will-o'-the-wisps.
Okay.
And they're basically, they appear as, like, faint lights, usually in the forest, to lure people or children off the road and into the woods where they will starve and die.
Okay. It's like orbs. Sorts.
Yeah, basically. Which I think these make an appearance in Frozen, which I know you've never seen.
No, Frozen I've seen. Brave,
oh, yes, that's what I mean. Thank you.
Brave,
Yeah.
Never seen. Probably never going to see.
It's really good, but the ones in Brave are fairly friendly.
Okay.
In real life, they're not. Don't follow the blue orb into the woods.
Good thing they're not real, because I don't want to have this problem.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. And the worst kind of fairy you could run into are redcaps.
Okay.
And these are, like, they're gruesome little goblin type of guys. I imagine them to be, like, walking lawn gnomes.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They usually have red hats, hence the name redcap, and they are dyed red because of the blood of their victims.
Great.
Yeah. This is right up your alley.
Great.
They live in abandoned castles out in the countryside where terrible things have been done.
So all the castles.
Yeah. They're basically like weird gremlin poltergeists because they live there because bad things have been done there. Mm-hmm. They would capture and eat travelers who got too close to their domain.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dream.
Uh-huh. Puka these ones are like very much my vibe.
Okay.
These are basically like little druid fairies.
Okay.
So they are able to take the form of any animal. And they are mischievous but not evil. So they would like maybe like lure you into the woods and then like kick you into a swamp or something. But they're not gonna kill you. Just like tie you to a tree. Or like, get you a little bit lost.
Pranksters.
Yeah, they're like little jokesters.
Okay.
But they take the form of different animals, and I think that's super cute. The last ones are one that you'll really appreciate. They're little selkies.
Oh,
and selkies are little seal fairies. They're seal mermen. They're super cute. And they were, legend says, super like kind and gentle and really caring and sweet. Unfortunately, they are a dying breed of fae, thanks to seal poaching.
What the fuck?
Right? Humans gotta ruin everything.
They really do.
Even fake fairies.
I'm just gonna start the hashtag Save the Selkies.
There you go. There you go.
I would like to make a difference. Please donate to my cause. Save the Selkies.
Save the Selkies. That's about all I got on fairies for you. Do you have any questions?
No, but I do have a comment. Selkies remind me of... Do you remember that episode of As Told by Ginger when Macy dresses up as...
Oh my god, yes!
A seal to do the talent show?
Yes!
She's a little seal girl?
Uh-huh!
Yeah.
That is a Selkie.
That's what that reminds me of.
And she's so kind and sweet and pure.
Little Selkie.
She's a Selkie.
Yeah. That's what that reminds me of.
Alright, and now a word from our sponsor.
Us.
All right, we're back after that ad. Brookie, what do you got for me?
Alrighty, so today we are going to be talking about the legendary, the mythical, the wonderful rhinoceros.
Huh, interesting. Didn't know those only existed in the medieval days. Sure,
Yeah,
go on.
Well, they don't exist now, do they?
No, they don't.
Well, I'm just kidding because we're going to be talking about unicorns today.
That makes much more sense.
Well, a unicorn is nothing but a medieval rhinoceros, isn't it?
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, typical. So I got my information from ancientfacts.net, Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the Brown Library. So at this point in everybody's lives, they should know what the fuck a unicorn is. If they don't, you have lived a very sheltered life, and I apologize for it. So just in case you really, truly don't know what a unicorn is, we typically think of them as being like a white horse with a horn on its forehead that, I think of it as being iridescent.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes. It's mythical and magical and radiates fucking sparkles out its asshole. So in the Middle Ages, they thought of them a little bit differently than what we think of today. So where did this myth come from? Like everything, it first started in Greek mythology. The ancient Greeks were really pretty sure that these things existed, like most things that they had at that time. The first description of it was in Greek literature, and it was from a historian named Titius. And he basically described it as like a wild donkey, which was the size of a horse, which makes no sense because then it's just a horse.
Isn't it just a horse then?
Yes. With a white body, a purple head, and blue eyes. And then on its forehead, it was described as a cubit long horn that was red at the tip, black in the middle, and white at the base.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. What long?
A cubit.
I'm gonna need some elaboration.
So, to clear it up, it's not a cubic, like you would think a measurement would be.
Not a cubic long. That wouldn't make any sense either.
That wouldn't make any sense. I feel like a cubic is just like little. So then it'd be like the tiniest little nubbin on his head.
A little baby horn.
Just a little thing. No, a cubit long is actually like about 21 inches.
Just approximate, like around there.
Yeah,
about 21 inches.
They couldn't round it out to like 2 feet. They had to. Just the 21 inches is pretty solid for them.
Man, they have the weirdest way of measuring things. A cubit long, a fortnight.
Basically, yeah. Well, I mean, like a cubit is I think was around like 14 inches. So then like a cubit long was just a longer cubit.
So they had two different measurements for two different sizes featuring the same word, and they were like, no, this is perfectly logical.
And it's not even like it's double either.
No,
like,
no, it's a cubit versus a cubit long.
Just a little bit longer.
Okay. I guess that's why it had to be about 21 inches, because it was dumb as fuck.
Yeah, basically. So like he was probably describing an Indian rhinoceros, which I also looked up because I was like, I gotta see this fucker. It does not have the horn that he described. I don't know what the fuck he was looking at. Like red at the tip. No way. Unless it's got blood on it from the, destruction of its enemies. I really don't think there was like any red at the tip. It's like a little bit lighter at like where the base is, where it's attached to the head, and like darker in the middle, but like there's no red in it. It looks like your basic run-of-the-mill rhinoceros, except for
God.
In some pictures the horn was a little bit longer and like more curved and definitely looked really sharp, but like that was only in some of them, and it's probably because we've just decided to destroy them and take all of their horns, so there's no real good pictures of them, which is sad. Yeah. But my favorite description is from Marco Polo, who was a real human being, shockingly.
Oh. Well, yeah. If I have any takeaway, say it's that Marco Polo was a real person.
Yeah, I mean, he was an Italian merchant. He was a babe. If you ever get a chance to look him up, do it. He's a hottie with a body.
No wonder we're all searching for him in the pool then.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, Marco.
Yeah, Polo over here, buddy. So his description was scarcely smaller than elephants. They have the hair of a buffalo and feet like an elephant's. They have a single large black horn in the middle of the forehead. They have a head like a wild boar's. They spend their time, by preference, wallowing in mud and slime. They're very ugly brutes to look at. They are not at all such as we describe when we relate that they can let themselves be captured by virgins, but clean contrary to our notions. He was describing, obviously, a fucking rhinoceros.
Yeah, Marco, I got some bad news for you. That ain't a unicorn.
He's like looking at this thing, writing down his description in his little journal, and thinking to himself, "Holy shit, this thing is ugly.
This thing's so ugly. I can't believe people pay money for that horn.
I can't believe that they have wrongly painted this on pictures and in tapestries. What the fuck are people thinking? Because they are very wrong." He's like, I have seen one in real life and it's awful. So they actually had like a lot of religious significance at this time, like most things. Like I feel like everything in the Middle Ages was somehow related to religion in some way, because
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what else are they going to do?
Right.
So
it was their one way to explain literally everything.
Yeah, basically, like God was everything, and there was, no questioning that.
Right.
So to them, like unicorns represented grace and purity. Therefore, it was believed that they could only be captured by a virgin. And like the thought was that as soon as a unicorn spotted a virgin, somehow it had that weird spidey sense.
Yep. Virgin sense, obviously. Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah, basically. Everybody but a unicorn, of course. It would basically come to her, lay its head in her lap, and fall asleep. And therefore, it became vulnerable to being captured by people. So it kind of became an allegory for the incarnation in the Bible, which I knew nothing about because I'm not religious at all in any sense of the word. Mm-hmm. I wasn't when I was younger. I'm not now. So I actually had to look this up. And it was basically the, like when Christ, I guess, becomes human or like made of flesh and is vulnerable in like the womb of the Virgin Mary. So the unicorn represents Christ, and then the virgin is obviously like the Virgin Mary.
Right.
So another event that it was kind of said to represent was the Passion of Christ, which is, we're not referring to the movie, which I feel like 5 people on this earth have probably seen. Because who wants to watch Mel Gibson do anything?
That's fair.
Yeah. So that pertains to like when Jesus sacrificed himself for the protection of his people. So the unicorn basically sacrifices itself to protect the virgin. Which I guess I thought was kind of interesting that they thought that this like being was like God almost.
Mhm.
But I think it's just because it was representative of like pureness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that I thought was really interesting, which I also wouldn't know because I've never read the Bible, but unicorns are mentioned about 9 times in the Bible.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot for a unicorn to be mentioned anywhere, really.
Yeah, unless it's a book about unicorns.
Yeah.
Or this episode.
Or this episode, yeah. But because they were like such like a strong religious influence, they became really popular in 13th century literature. And a lot of times they represented like a lover being attracted to a lady. So like as a unicorn would be attracted to a virgin.
Okay.
Yeah. And like that's kind of displayed in like a lot of paintings and tapestries. And like one of the most famous like tapestries is it's literally just called the unicorn tapestries. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and it's housed at the Met, and there's actually like a series of them. So I think they came in like a series of like 7 or 8.
Okay.
But they're like a progression of things. So like the first one might start, I haven't seen all of them, I just saw the one, but like I think the first one starts off with like the unicorn in the forest, and then it basically depicts like it coming to like the virgin and then it being captured, and then they hold it in this pen, and I think the one that we've seen is the one of it in the pen.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably, I like very distinctly remember it in like history books.
Yes. So like that one is like it's a beautiful tapestry, but it's like in this little circular pen with like a collar around its neck. So they obviously captured it. And it's like laying down. It's got this super long, majestic looking horn.
Yeah.
And there's flowers all around it. But I think it's like the second to last in the series, and the one after that it dies, which is also really sad. But I don't know, because we'll have to go and actually see it.
Yeah.
You know, there's not like they mention it online that it's a series, but they can't, I guess they don't show you all of them. Like they only really show you that one.
Right.
And I'm sure that they all have like actual names to themselves, but I just know the collection is called the Unicorn Tapestries, which is cool. So then modern times now, like we kind of see it in a different light. Like today's unicorn is more of like a symbol of like magic and enchantment and miracles and sparkles and
a half-life
if you're in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But they like often remind us of like innocence and purity, and are strongly like associated with like quote unquote princess culture.
I am familiar.
Yes, like you get your unicorn, you get your castle, you get your fancy dress and your crown, and you are like set. You are top notch. You are where you're supposed to be. It's good to go. So that's kind of where we're at with that today, but it's not really like we don't ever see mention of it anywhere anymore. Like
no, I feel like it like unicorns are fairly prominent in pop culture for young girls, but like it is widely accepted that they do not, nor have they ever actually existed.
Yeah,
as
and
disappointing as that is for a unicorn girl like myself.
a wannabe horse girl.
Yeah, a wannabe horse girl.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because I'd like to see just like a nice adult story about a unicorn, but
I'll get on it.
Thank you. But not like, I mean, I feel like if we left it up to like everybody else, they'd write something really, really awful. And I don't want to see something inappropriate.
No, yeah, I'm not talking like My Little Pony, but make it unicorns for adults.
No. I want a battle of the unicorns or some shit.
Yeah, like I want to ride a unicorn into battle.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Game of Thrones, but make it unicorns.
I can't even imagine that, but it sounds amazing. Man, the Battle of Winterfell would have gone a lot differently if they were riding unicorns instead of horses.
Would it though?
I don't know. They have a horn on their head.
I guess, yeah.
But like, speaking of
it also would have been different if the what's his name? The Night King had unicorns on his side.
Oh, that would
imagine a zombie unicorn.
Well, he had a dragon, so like, you know, he had a zombie dragon, so we're getting close.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, a zombie unicorn would be boss, but
Right.
someone will do it one day, I hope. Please do it for my sake. But speaking of the horn of a unicorn, so that is called an alicorn when it should have been called a unihorn, and somebody really dropped the ball on that opportunity.
You know, I've never understood the why it's called unicorn to begin with. Like it's got a horn. It doesn't have a corn.
Could you imagine a horse with a corn on the cob horn?
That would be amazing. Truly outstanding.
That's a unicorn. Just
these
one
are just
corn
like
cob.
corn horses.
No, actually, like the breakdown of unihorn, or not unihorn, that's what I named it. Unicorn. So obviously uni means one, but I think corn means horn, like in olden days.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, which is why I don't understand why not just call it a unihorn, but
right.
It's neither here nor there. Anyway, they believe that horn held like magical and medicinal properties. So like in encyclopedias of the time, they said that the horn basically had the power to neutralize poison, and therefore it acted like a filter, so it made poison water drinkable, which is why they used it in a lot of like ceremonial cups, whether they ground it down to like a powder and like you drank it in there, or they like actually made the cup out of it, that like it was like really like a rare gift for like a king to have, because like he thought that he was protected from poisons then. So then physicians of the time used it as like cures for various diseases. It was said to protect from like stomach trouble, epilepsy, as I said, poison, cure fevers. It could delay signs of aging, or it could be used as an aphrodisiac, which is weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Man, people were weird.
It's like, I can't get turned on, but let me get one of those unicorn horns. I'll like ground it into a powder, snort that shit up, and we're good to go.
Yep.
Like,
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, brother.
Like, what the fuck were people doing at that time?
They were snorting powdered horns, so it made them a little bit loopy.
Basically. So like if they got a hold of an entire horn during that time, they were very, very precious. Even though they obviously were not from a legitimate fucking unicorn, they were usually the tusks of like a narwhal or an elephant, which I find really bizarre, because the Middle Ages takes place like kind of all over the world, I think. Well, obviously, like it was a time period, not a place, right. But it's just like weird to think that like the people of this time were somehow hunting down narwhals. Now, like, I know a lot of people don't know a lot of information about narwhals, but like, I'm pretty sure you could gather that it's a whale of some sort, or like a dolphin looking thing with a horn on its head. Like,
yeah, I think everybody knows that.
Yeah, I think we should know at this point what that is. But like, how the fuck were you catching that?
And like, why was that not good enough for you? Like, it's a whale with a horn that actually, like, it actually has the thing you're looking for. Why is that not amazing enough? I know this animal already has a horn, but I'm gonna take it and pretend it belongs to a different kind of animal. Sorry, is the horned whale not cool enough?
Like, I feel like nowadays I'm still baffled by the concept of a narwhal.
That like narwhals actually are just out there somewhere floating around.
And actually, like, fun fact for people who don't know, that horn is actually not a horn, it's a tooth.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. And I think one of my coworkers was telling me, I don't know if he listens to this, but if he does, he knows who he is. He was telling me that like he has like a picture of one, or saw one with two horns.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm sure
the
like
people who take them aren't actually like, they're dentists.
Yes. They're not actually robbing it of its horn. They're robbing it of its
teeth. They're the tooth fairy.
Yes. But like they don't just wait for it to fall out and put it under its pillow.
No, they just rip it out of its skull.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow after they've attracted it to it. Because like I mean, obviously during that time, I'm not even now, but like during that time, they're not exactly like social creatures. They're not gonna like come up to you and be like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" Like,
I don't even know where narwhals live. Like, how do you find one to capture?
This is what is like so mind blowing to me. So they're from like the Arctic. Like they live in colder environments. Like you're not gonna see one like, tramping around over in like the Caribbean.
Right.
So like, where are you guys going?
You guys are like taking your little fisher boat all the way up north, plugging through the ice, and just like hoping a narwhal pops out.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we're gonna take your horn, and you're also not cool enough for us.
Basically, yes.
Cool.
So another cool, well, not cool, but this is kind of hilarious to me. So like there's a Danish physician whose name, I shit you not, was Olworm.
Olworm.
O-L-E. Worm.
Okay. Ole worme.
Ole worme. He somehow made the distinction that the alicorns that people had were not legitimate and that they were narwhals' horn or tusks.
I feel like you say somehow like it's a miracle. I feel like that's pretty basic logic. Well, I've never seen a unicorn, but I know these whales with horns are missing their horns. So
I mean, I guess you're right.
Just go out on a limb here.
I'm over here thinking that he's doing like scientific tests on them in like some kind of makeshift lab.
No, I think he's just looking around.
Yeah, I mean, basically. But like I'm over here like thinking the opposite, where he's like testing it, like he's like licking it, going, this isn't real. This is not a real unicorn horn. So, but basically he thought that they were all fake and that they were just horns of various animals kind of just put together. And what's really insane about this is that alicorns were sold up until like the mid 1700s as like a medicinal cure for things. Like they were still using these.
That is just mind blowing. Like that you ever thought that it was a cure for anything. Then you, at this point, had they determined that they weren't actually unicorn horns?
Yeah, because he determined, Ole Worm determined it in like the mid 1600s. Huh.
So they're like, we know it's not real, but I'm going to continue to snort it anyway.
Yeah. They were like, it was just one guy who said it wasn't real.
So that's not really convincing enough.
Sorry, that's not proof for me, so I'm still going to do it because I think it works.
Sure.
So, there is actually like the throne chair of Denmark is supposedly made from unicorn horns, but obviously it's not really. It's made out of narwhal tusks. But I looked it up because I wanted to see what it looked like because I'm thinking that it's going to be like Game of Thrones style, but like horns everywhere. It's not. It's just like a white chair with like some gold like embellishments on it. It's a nice looking
but like
chair.
No nicer
but
than
I don't think it's
queen of anywhere else.
Yeah, like it's it's your typical throne chair. Like nothing. If you had just showed it to me, I would have been like, "That's a cool chair." But like nothing about it screams, "I'm made out of a unicorn horn." So nothing about it even screams, "I'm made out of a narwhal horn." Like it's
and really, wouldn't they be screaming the same thing at you?
Fancy name. Yeah, it would actually. And well, actually, looking at it, as I said, it's like stark white, and like you would think if it was made out of a horn of any sort, it would be like an off white, like kind of dirty looking, but it's like white.
Well, isn't that why like ivory was so expensive, because it was so white? And I assume that narwhal or unicorn horns are made out of the same like ivory.
Yeah. I don't know why it was so expensive. I kind of just assumed that they were all going to be like an off-white color like that. Because I feel like I've seen because I think it's a bone, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, like, what is your tooth but a bone, and what is a narwhal horn but a tooth?
but a very long cubit horn
pointy
tooth.
outy kind of tooth, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know the logistics
I'm not a
of
unicorn
it,
scientist.
so
I don't know.
I don't know, but if I could
If that
be,
were
I
a
would.
position, then yeah, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, I think we would be professionals. But they're like, I mean, as I said, they're not mentioned a lot nowadays, but they were kind of like heavy in pop culture, ranging from Harry Potter to the Chronicles of Narnia, good old Lisa Frank art on your folders from 6th grade, you know, like typical unicorn. But I will say that a lot of these aren't actual unicorns. They're like, just to kind of finish everything up here, I think that there's like multiple types of unicorns. So you have your standard, you know, white horse, magical horn, like you would have seen in Harry Potter, which they don't actually ever show unicorns in Harry Potter, I don't think. I think they just kind of mention it quickly.
No, I think you're right. I think the only time we ever see one, it's dead.
Yeah. So you don't see it in all its majestic glory. Then there's the Pegasus, which is really just a magical winged horse from Greek mythology.
Like Hercules.
We see that in Disney's Hercules. And actually, there's Pegasi?
Sure.
They're in Harry Potter too. They're pulling the cart for
oh shit, you're right. Yeah, I think they don't use the term Pegasus. I think they use the term winged horse. But I mean, what is a winged horse if not a Pegasus?
Very true. And then the last kind, which is my favorite, is a pegacorn.
Yes. A pegacorn.
Yes. A pegacorn, which is a unicorn with wings. And my favorite depiction of Le Pegacorn is from Sailor Moon, which confusingly, that pegacorn is named Pegasus, even though he is not a Pegasus. But he's very majestical, and he like basically like enters one of the girl's dreams. He's like a dream pegacorn. He's really cool though, but that's a prime example. I think people like to combine them because they're both really cool.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Why not? Give a flying horse a horn. It's already majestic, so
what's the difference?
Make it more majestic.
I feel like in my head there is a distinct distinction about that. Like a pegacorn is not it's not a unicorn with wings. It's a Pegasus with a horn. I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess you're right. Like, now that I'm thinking about it,
seems
like,
easier to add a horn to a winged horse than to add wings to a horned horse.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Like, when I think about it, the first thing that comes to mind mostly is the wings. And then you remember it's got a horn, too. Right. So, you're right. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
We'll never know which came first, the Pegasus or the unicorn. It's a question we cannot answer.
We just know that the pegacorn came last.
Yeah.
So it fell last in the lineup. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for you on unicorns today.
I mean, that was fun. We learned some shit. Isn't that what matters?
Yeah, it's isn't it always what matters? What are you reading?
I am reading. It kind of goes very well along with this whole topic, I guess. Actually, it's called The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. It is very fairy related and very steeped in fairy mythology, so it's super interesting. It's a little bit like younger age than I would like to be reading, but I'm pretty excited about it. It's super interesting. It's about a couple of sisters who as children are like stolen away to fairy world and kind of end up growing up there. So it's super interesting. I'm really excited about it.
Is it a series?
I think there's 2 or 3 of them right now. I can't remember the names of the other one, but this one is called The Cruel Prince. It's got like a really beautiful gold filigree kind of cover.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. I always see that book and then I'm like, do I want to read that? And like the description never sounds interesting to me, but I've been there with like a lot of books and then ended up reading them. And
me too.
So
I feel
eventually
the same way about this one. I can't remember what finally convinced me to pick it up. don't know if maybe I think I just got it before before I knew that everything was going to be getting locked down, and I was like, I'm going to want to read a book. So I picked it up then.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I just finished the first Harry Potter book I know I listened to the audio book just because I like to listen to things while I'm like getting ready for work, while I'm on my way for work, things like that, like while I'm doing other things and I can't just like sit down. We all know that this is a big deal for me because I never read the first one. So I read all the other ones. I am a huge Harry Potter fan. That is my favorite thing in the entire world. But I never read the first
I'm so glad you finally did. And I'm really glad you picked it up on audio because the audio series is so good.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And I can't wait to like read the second one. I think I'm going to have to like get Audible though, because my library doesn't have it. Like, they have it, but it's not available right now. And it's like a 12-week wait for it. So I'm not, like everyone must be picking it up right now and trying to like read through this series. But like, I am not
honestly, dude, Audible is
3 months.
It's very much worth it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to, I'm going to sign up for it because I had it before when I initially read Game of Thrones and then I just got rid of it. But I think I was on a free trial. But I think for Harry Potter, I will sign back up for it because I do want to hear like the rest on like audio. And I know you said that they were really, really good. Because like I've read, I've read all the books now, but like I want to hear it. I want somebody to read it.
It's worth it. It's a completely different experience reading it as an adult and listening to it. Totally different from like reading it as a kid.
And it's the same guy narrating it throughout the whole series, right? He does a really good job. I like him. Yeah, he did it justice because I know sometimes you like once you hear like the narrator and you're like, that's not what I wanted at all.
In the like first few books, you feel that way when he does like the female characters, but as everybody grows up, it's a lot it's like a lot more believable.
Yeah, like his Hermione isn't great, but his McGonagall is pretty good. Like all of his accents are really solid.
Sometimes you're like listening to his different voices and it's hard to even like tell that it's the same guy.
Yeah, like his Hagrid voice, I was fully convinced that it was Robbie Coltrane because it was like so spot on. I was like, holy shit! Like, am I watching the movie right now, or is he narrating this? It was good. So I'm happy that I finally got through it, and I'll probably start the second one either like today or tomorrow. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I'm gonna start it because I'm really excited. So, yeah.
All right. I think that is everything. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us again. We did recently put up on our Anchor page a support button. So if you're feeling generous and you have a little bit of spare cash to donate, you're more than welcome to. Anything is really, really appreciated, and anything that you give will be put directly back into the show.
Absolutely, like for new equipment and to make sure that we can record this so that it sounds really good for you guys, because I know the first couple episodes could be a little rough because we have no idea what we're doing, nor do we have the right equipment for everything. So we're making do with what we have in our little cave, and hopefully we'll figure it out, but a little help could also be nice for us too. But we appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for subscribing and liking us and rating us on iTunes, and just being a part of this little world with us. And we'll continue to put out content for you guys if you help us continue to grow. So alrighty guys, we will see you back here next week with the next episode for Medieval May. I think we're going to be doing prominent figures of the time. So hopefully we could bring you something
in the meantime. Stay weird and stay drunk
and learn something new. We're out.